am 40 years old. People say that by this age, a man should have a stable career and a solid foundation. But this year, my business went bankrupt, leaving me with massive debts. The financial crisis put a heavy strain on my marriage, and my wife and I decided to separate. I could no longer afford the expensive life in the city, nor did I want to keep drowning in that suffocating environment. So I packed my essentials into a single backpack and chose to leave the urban hustle behind. I came back here to this 100-year-old ancestral house in the countryside, the very place where I was born. Standing before this rusty gate, I realized that taking a step back to my roots is the only way for me to find a quiet space to face the truth and heal. My heart aches when I realize it has been so long since I last offered a stick of incense to my ancestors. But today, I am finally home. As I pushed the doors open, a sliver of late afternoon sun cut through the darkness. The air was thick with dust and the smell of old wood. Everything here has been frozen in time for 2 decades, just like my life right now. This is the old country house where my family lived for generations. In the center is the main room, where a thick layer of dust now covers the old wooden table. Next to it is the kitchen, a traditional lean-to shed with an earthen floor. Inside, the old mud stove and the iron tripod sit cold, still filled with gray ash from winters long ago. Then, there is the small bedroom, where an old wooden bed stands in the corner, holding memories of my childhood. When you go through bankruptcy, the hardest part isn't just losing your assets. It's accepting that you have to let go of your old identity. I used to be a business owner. Now I am just a man standing in a quiet, ruined house with no job and an uncertain future. But as I look out the window at the wild, overgrown garden, I don't feel anger. The garden used to be filled with fruit trees planted by my grandparents, but now it is covered in wild grass and tangled vines. This old house has survived wars, storms, and time. It is still standing, and I know I will stand firm too. The midday air becomes cool as a gentle rain begins to fall over the countryside. Sitting here under the porch, watching the raindrops roll off the old tiled roof, my mind finally has the space to drift into the future. For months, I was trapped in a cycle of worry, only thinking about how to survive the next day. But this rainy afternoon, for the first time, I am allowed to dream again. I look at this old house and envision what it will look like when the roof is repaired and the walls are clean. I look at the overgrown garden, now washed fresh by the rain, and imagine rows of green vegetables, blooming flowers, and fruit trees heavy with life. It will take time, months or maybe years, to clear the financial burdens and heal my spirit. But standing at the very bottom, the only way left to go is up. I am no longer afraid of the long road ahead. Right here, in the birthplace of my ancestors, I will patiently cultivate a new, peaceful chapter of my life. The rain will eventually stop, and a brighter day will come. Placed my backpack onto an old wooden bed. The sound was heavy, but my heart suddenly felt lighter. The noise of the city is gone. There are no more pretenses, no more keeping up appearances. At 40, I am not just starting from zero. I am starting from a negative balance. The debt is still there, but so is my determination. It's a massive challenge, but it's also a unique opportunity to rebuild a real life from the very bottom. Instead of waiting, I decided to take action right away. Today, I cleaned up the old kitchen and lit the first fire to cook a simple meal. Watching the smoke rise from the hearth, I felt a strange sense of peace. The warmth of the fire is slowly bringing this house back to life. I sat down on the brick steps of the porch. The evening wind from the rice fields was cool and clean. For the first time in months, I could breathe deeply without any weight on my chest. Tomorrow, I will continue by clearing the wild garden. I'm going to rebuild this house, and piece by piece, restore my life right here. Welcome to my new beginning. The midday air suddenly becomes cool and fresh as a gentle, quiet rain begins to fall over the countryside. Sitting here under the old brick porch, watching the small raindrops roll off the weathered tiled roof, my tired mind finally has the space to drift into the future. For months, I was trapped in a painful cycle of constant worry, only thinking about how to survive the next day, how to handle the pressure. But this rainy afternoon, for the very first time, I am allowed to dream again. I look at this old house and envision what it will look like when the leaking roof is fully repaired and the dirty walls are clean. I look at the overgrown garden now being washed fresh and clean by the falling rain, and I imagine rows of green vegetables, blooming flowers, and fruit trees heavy with life. It will definitely take time, many months or maybe even years, to clear all my financial burdens and completely heal my broken spirit. But standing at the very bottom, the only way left for me to go is up. I'm no longer afraid of the long, lonely road ahead. Right here, in the birthplace of my ancestors, I will patiently cultivate a new, peaceful chapter of my life. The rain will eventually stop, the storm will pass, and a brighter day will come to this home. I sat on a small wooden stool in the newly cleaned kitchen, eating my very first meal in this house. It was just a bowl of plain rice, a few simple vegetables, and basic food. But it tasted better than any expensive dinner I ever had in the city. In the past, when I was running my business, I used to eat luxury meals while my mind was burning with stress, calculating debts and profits. I never truly tasted the food. But today, eating in this quiet kitchen with the smell of wood and fire, I can taste every single grain of rice. I realize that happiness doesn't demand luxury. It only demands a calm mind. This simple meal is fuel, not just for my body, but for my spirit. It teaches me how to live poorly, but honestly, how to appreciate the smallest things, and how to find contentment right in the middle of hardship.